I'll tell you straight, Yoop, if you told me last month that a barefoot kid would walk up to my $1 million house, point at the coffin of my newborn son, and say, "Your baby is still alive," I'd have called you insane, but that's exactly what happened. Sometimes life knocks you so hard you forget how to breathe. And sometimes hope shows up looking like a ragged little boy nobody even sees. You know what I mean? So let me back up a sec and tell you how my world turned upside down in a single, unthinkable day. That morning, the old Porter house me so-called dream home sat quiet, the air thick and heavy, like the walls themselves were holding their breath. I was on the porch, sunk into those creaky wooden steps, wearing my best shirt and black dress pants because that's what people expect at a funeral, even when your heart's in shreds. My hands wouldn't stop shaking, and the only thing I could see was that tiny, perfect coffin just big enough for a baby sitting right there in the sun. My wife, Clara, and I had tried for years to have a child, lost two along the way, and when the doctors finally said this one was going to make it, we let ourselves believe in miracles. But the day he came into this world, Clara left it. The doctors tried, I guess. At least, that's what they told me. "I'm so sorry, Mr. Porter. Your wife didn't make it. Your son was born, but only for a few moments. Those words, they hollowed me out, and everything since has just been noise. Arrangements, paperwork, faces blurring in and out, people saying things they thought would help, but all I wanted was for my family to come home. And instead, I brought my son's body back to the porch where Clara used to rock in the evenings, singing little lullabies to the future we'd both pictured. I sat there, lost in memories, not hearing or seeing anything until, out of nowhere, I noticed this skinny, barefoot black kid, maybe 7 or 8, hanging back by the edge of the driveway, staring at the coffin. At first, I thought he was just being nosy, maybe looking for scraps the way stray dogs do. But then he crept closer, his eyes wide, arms all scratched up, wearing a shirt 3 sizes too big. He hesitated, almost turned back, but something kept him there, just staring at the baby, not at me. He looked, blinked, then rubbed his eyes, leaning forward like he saw something nobody else did. "Mister," he said, voice quiet as a whisper, "Mister, your baby's alive." I didn't even process it. You lose that much, your mind stops letting in hope. But the kid stepped right up, points his finger, says it again. He's breathing. I saw him move. Something about the way he said it, so certain like he had nothing left to lose if he was wrong, snapped me awake. I lurched forward, my own heart thudding so loud it drowned out the world. I leaned over the coffin, hands shaking so bad I could barely pull the blanket back in there. It was plain as day, the barest little rise and fall in my son's chest, like a feather trembling in the breeze. I reached out, touched his cheek, warm, soft, alive. My knees nearly gave way. I gasped so loud it scared the birds off the fence. The doctors had signed the papers dead. But this kid, this stranger, had seen what none of us did. I spun around, grabbed the boy by the shoulders. "Stay here, don't move." I stammered, fumbled for my phone, and I must have sounded like a madman on the emergency line, shouting, "My baby is alive. You have to send help now." My legs barely held me up as the sirens blared in the distance, the world spinning back to life around me. Paramedics came rushing up the porch steps, oxygen masks and all. They did their thing fast, sharp voices urgent while I stood off to the side, just clinging to the baby's tiny hand, whispering over and over, hang on, little one, please, at the hospital." It was all chaos, machines beeping, doctors shouting orders, nurses darting in and out. Time twisted itself into knots. I just kept seeing Clara's face, hearing her voice. "We're going to meet our son soon." But was this it? Would I lose him too? Finally, a doctor came out, Dr. Adams, calm but tired, told me my son had been close, but he was stable now. "He's going to make it." I broke down big, ugly sobs right there in front of everyone. Then, as the relief washed over me, I remembered the boy who saw what nobody else did. I rushed home, worried he'd be gone, maybe scared off by the sirens or the crowds that always gather when things go wrong in nice neighborhoods. But there he was, still sitting quietly on the porch steps, picking at a loose thread in his dirty shirt, waiting like he'd been told. I knelt down beside him, voice shaking. "What's your name?" He looked eyes big and wary. "Eli." "Eli, how did you know?" He shrugged like it was nothing. I seen babies before. He wasn't gone. I looked at him really, looked and saw a child who'd probably slept outside more nights than not, bruised and ignored by the world, but with a heart big enough to care about a stranger's grief. "Where's your family?" I asked, and he just looked down, shoulders shrinking. "Don't have one," he said. "People don't notice me much." That nearly finished me. You ever realize you've spent your whole life chasing things money, respect, success just to end up empty? Eli, this invisible little boy, saw more than all the adults in my world. He saved my son, and in that moment I knew I couldn't just let him go back to the shadows. "You saved him, Eli. I can never repay you, but I can make sure you're never alone again." I reached out my hand, and after a moment, he took it. Sometimes that's all it takes, a hand held out at the right time. That night, after the authorities and social workers did their thing, I brought Eli home, a real home. Gave him a hot meal, a warm bath, clean pajamas that finally fit, and watched him drift off to sleep in a real bed for maybe the first time in his life. The next morning, I was back at the hospital, holding my son Benjamin against my chest, crying tears that felt like rain after a drought. "You're here because of him," I whispered. Later, Eli joined us in the hospital room, staring at all the machines but not afraid. "You want to stay with us, Eli?" I asked. "Live here?" His whole face lit up. "You mean it?" "Yeah," I said. "You saved my son. You saved me. You deserve a family too." Weeks passed, paperwork was done, and Eli became my son officially, legally, but more than that, he became my hope. We were Threem, Benjamin, and Eli. We healed together, learned to laugh again, and slowly, life came back into the Porter house. And whenever folks ask about the miracle that saved my family, I just tell them the truth. It was a homeless boy, a child nobody saw, who gave me my life back. So what do you think? Was it fate, luck, a miracle, or just the simple power of paying attention when everyone else looks away? If this story moved you, hit that like button, subscribe for more real-life tales, and let me know in the comments, what would you have done in my shoes? Does justice always come from the places we least expect, or is it up to us to make it happen? Let's talk about it, because sometimes the smallest act of kindness can change everything.